Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world. Yep, I'm excited. Guess what? I am hanging out with my homeboy, Thomas Morgan, international fame and fortune. He doesn't think so, but I think so because I've been rolling deep with this boy for 5-7 years. Feels like 30. And I'm so excited that he is the host, the ambassador of Investor Weekend in Chattanooga, March 8th and 9th, 2019. At the Holiday Inn. And so a lot of people don't know you, Thomas. What do you do all day?
I buy and sell real estate in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I work with private equity private investors and give them equity and collateral for their real estate.
Now you have a lot of claim to fames in my world. Wholesale, you've not used the bank at all. I've tried to force you to use the bank and you won't use the bank. So what do they know about you in Chattanooga? And when you lead the round table, what is your specialty? Tell us about what you're passionate about.
My passion's really, I love wholesaling real estate and I love creative financing. I love being able to structure a deal and make it really a win-win for everyone involved, from the seller to the private lender to even myself and my company.
So being creative, I know that for just hanging out with you, I think I have an idea and then you defunk it and say, try this, use your IRA, subject to it. So a lot of people don't know what those terms are. This may be their first time coming to Investor Weekend. What advice would you give them? Say hey, I want Thomas to be my mentor. What would be the first thing that you would tell them?
I'd ask them, what are they really looking for? Are they looking for cash flow? Are they looking for equity? Are they looking for retirement growth? What's their end goal? Or what do they need today and what are they aiming for? Trying to find out, what do they really need? I meet a lot of people that want to go into all kinds of different aspects of real estate, but it really doesn't fit their goal or their dream.
You know, a lot of people enter the market as a wholesaler because there's a low barrier of entry. That's kind of where you kind of dabble a lot, and then you have some rental properties. What's the process for being a wholesaler, and what is it?
There's a lot to that. Most people that get into wholesaling are entry level. They don't know where to start. They don't have a lot of cash, but they seem to have a lot more time than money. So basically, what wholesaling is you're assigning your equitable interest in a property. Basically, meaning if I get a property, say it's worth $100,000, and I get a contract on it for $50,000. If I say to you, give me 50 cents, I'll give you $1. That's a great deal for you. If I say, give me 55 cents, I'll give you $1. That's still a good deal for you. But
right.
In comparison, I can create a $5,000 spread on a property I just have a contract on.
So the process of being a wholesaler, is there like a license? What do you have to do to be a wholesaler?
Depending on your state, some states are actually getting a little more strict in requiring licenses. But for most states, you don't have to have a license. You just have to have some intelligence about you, being able to understand what a good deal is and being able to provide value to somebody that has money and wants to buy property.
You know, some people think that, they have to have money to be a wholesaler, or they actually have to close a property. Let's go through the process. I find a deal. I want to buy it because I know there's some equity in there, so I can make a quick profit. It's a $100,000 profit. It's a $100,000 house. I got it under contract for $50,000. Do I have to close it for $50,000? Do I have to have $50,000 cash? How does it work when I find a good deal?
Depending on your situation, if you're dealing with cash buyers, no, typically you don't have to have the cash. You can assign, in the language in your contract, you can assign the contract to the end buyer, basically making it from an A to B to C transaction, just going from A directly to C, and they pay you a fee at closing. It's called an assignment fee on a HUD-1 settlement statement, or the new closing and disclosures, depending on what type company uses.
So I give the illusion to the homeowner, the seller, hey, I am a cash buyer. I can close on the property. I lock it up, that $100,000 house, for $50,000, and then I assign the contract to another investor for a profit of $5,000, and I have no money in the deal, just my time and effort and marketing. Is that what you're saying?
I hate to say illusion, but you're giving the perception that you are a cash buyer. I mean, I am a cash buyer. I have cash. I can close on most things, or I have access to funding through other private investors I work with. But for the sake of tax purposes and for speed of transactions and closing purposes, I assign a lot of contracts. Just because I come across a deal, it might not be a deal for me at the current moment. But one of my good friends, Cleon, I pass him a lot of properties. I work with a number of investors in Chattanooga. Just because I know it's a deal, I'll take control of it by getting a contract on it. One of the exit strategies I use is assigning contracts. It's not the end all be all, but it's a way to profit from moving property and creating win-win situations and doing what you say you're going to do. I mean, I wouldn't be out locking up properties and saying, oh, I can close this cash if I don't think it's going to close. I mean, I only lock up stuff that I know I'm going to be able to move, just because it's an integrity thing. I don't want to be the guy burning 100 plus contracts a year.
So you prefer to wholesale it, get the chunks of cash, and then try to buy a property with a lot more down money or equity? What's your strategy on that?
I mean, wholesaling is really, it's a mean way to feed the monster for me, to either keep growing my rental portfolio or doing repairs or even funding some rehabs for me. Like, okay. I buy a lot of stuff where I can take over the debt, buying property subject tos, basically deeding the property into a trust and taking over the debt that's in place versus going and creating new debt by creating a new mortgage or having no debt and paying cash for it, or using money lending and things like that. So if I can control a property for 10, 15 grand, I can wholesale one or two deals, buy a subject to, add it to my portfolio.
Dude, this is awesome. So you're going to run a roundtable on March 8th, which is Friday night. There'll be some liquid courage to get everybody juiced up. What are you going to break off at the roundtable at Investor Weekend?
Hey, I can talk to anybody. I've traveled and spoke for Rich Dad, Poor Dad before. So I can have a conversation with anybody from like entry level to people that are doing major commercial deals and give some perspective and insight. I was coaching one of my friends the other day. He was buying his first single family house. I was having conversations with you about apartment deals that you're working on.
Yeah.
So I can.
That's awesome.
It just depends on who's really at the table. But
so you're just going to be open to any questions that people may have that time, that they may be a rookie, never done a wholesale deal, to someone that's done 10, and how they can scale their business up with a better CRM or Facebook marketing. You're going to answer all those questions?
Yeah, from Facebook marketing to even business automation. I mean, there's so many apps and technologies and tools now that can make your life so much easier.
Awesome. Well, Mr. Morgan, I cannot wait. About 40 days away. It's going to be big. Get your tickets now. Investor Weekend, Chattanooga, 2019. Doing it big. Thanks for your time, man.
All right. Thanks, Steve.